Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a really crucial topic for anyone out there who is designing, upgrading, or maybe just dreaming about a high-power off-grid or hybrid solar setup. We're going to be looking at sizing a parallel inverter system for massive 10-kilowatt loads. Now, it sounds pretty straightforward, right? You've got a big power demand, so you just scale up your gear to match. Simple, but as you'll see today, safely handling massive power demands requires a whole lot more than just buying extra equipment and wiring it all together.
So let me ask you something. If you think adding more inverters automatically makes your whole system safer, are you absolutely sure about that? It's a really common trap. A lot of folks out there believe that just slapping a couple of identical inverters together instantly solves their high power needs safely, simply because the work is being shared. But we are going to challenge that oversimplified assumption right now, because what you don't see happening inside your wires can literally ruin your entire system. Okay, let's dive into this. If you spend any time looking for advice online, you're going to hear this surface level tip all the time. Oh, just add two 5-kilowatt inverters to get 10 kilowatts. Sounds as easy as clicking together Lego bricks, doesn't it? But that totally ignores a massive engineering reality, which is the massive DC current draw. So many online tutorials just stop at the AC output rating, the kilowatts. But ignoring the DC side reality, the actual current flowing straight out of your batteries, well, that's exactly where these systems fail in the real world. To really get why this is such a big deal, we have to start with a fundamental truth of electrical engineering. Inverters do not create power. They merely convert it. It's a simple concept for sure, but the implications are absolutely huge. Every single AC watt that your heavy appliances use, whether that's your air conditioning, your well pump, or your oven, has to come directly from your battery's DC current. The inverter is just the translator. That means the true stress, the actual heavy lifting of your system, happens entirely out of sight on the DC side.
So how do we actually measure that unseen stress? Well, it all comes down to a pretty standard formula. Current, represented by I, equals your AC load power, P, divided by your battery voltage V, multiplied by the inverter's efficiency. Let's plug in some real-world numbers to see what this actually means for you. Imagine you have a 10,000-watt load running on a standard 48-volt battery system, and we'll factor in a typical, maybe slightly optimistic inverter efficiency of about 90% or 0.9.
And this brilliantly illustrates the problem. Run those numbers, and boom, you get a startling reality check: 231 amps. That is the actual, measurable DC current your battery bank has to push out just to support that 10-kilowatt load. The really absolutely crucial point here is this. This is not some temporary surge. This isn't a split-second motor startup spike. If you are running a continuous 10-kilowatt load, you are pushing 231 amps of continuous, steady current right through your DC wires. Now, let's be fair and acknowledge what parallel systems actually do get right. If you have a single inverter setup, that one massive unit has to handle the full 231 amp load all by itself internally. And honestly, that's a lot of heat. But in a parallel inverter setup, the workload is divided between the units. So if you have two inverters, each one only sees about 115 amps on its internal DC side. They share the burden perfectly. But, and this is a massive bottleneck, while your two inverters are happily sharing the load at 115 amps each internally, the total battery demand is still exactly 231 amps. Parallel inverters do absolutely nothing to reduce the total current being drawn from your battery. They just divide it up downstream. Your single battery bank and the main cables leading away from it are still getting slammed with the full undivided force of that 231 amps. Let's make this real. Imagine a super common hardware setup. Say you have a 48-volt, 200 amp-hour lithium iron phosphate battery. A standard safe discharge rate, which is often called the C rate, for this specific battery is 0.5 C. That basically translates to a maximum safe draw of exactly 100 amps. But remember our math from a minute ago? Your 10-kilowatt system demands 231 amps continuously. The result of that? Extreme battery and battery management system stress. You're pulling over double what the battery is actually rated to safely deliver. That causes massive internal heat, severely reduces its lifespan, or honestly, just triggers a sudden system shutdown. And honestly, that brings us to the biggest takeaway here for anyone building these systems. The real question you should be asking isn't, can my inverter handle 10 kilowatts? No, the question is, can my battery safely deliver the current required? I really want you to let that paradigm shift sink in. You've got to stop thinking about your system's capacity in terms of the inverter's AC rating. You must start thinking entirely about your true battery DC capacity and what it can safely output.
Once you shift your mindset to that DC side, the physical consequences of ignoring this invisible force get pretty alarming. When you are dealing with over 200 amps, your cable size is absolutely no longer optional. It's not just a friendly recommendation for better efficiency. When you push that much current, any undersized cable is going to violently heat up, cause severe voltage drop, and eventually melt its own insulation right off. We're moving way past system inefficiency at this point and talking about the very real risk of starting an impromptu campfire right next to your expensive batteries.
If we break it all down, there are basically 4 hidden danger zones where these parallel systems fall apart if you aren't planning for that massive DC current. First up, exactly what we just mentioned, cable overheating and melted insulation. Second, immense battery stress, leading to a potential shutdown while under a heavy load. Third, unequal current sharing between the actual inverters themselves. And fourth, protection failure from using cheap, inadequate DC breakers.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide, specifically that third danger zone about unequal sharing, is the false sense of security it gives you. You might logically think, hey, if I wired 2 identical inverters together, they'll just share the current exactly 50-50, right? But in reality, even small differences in your cable lengths or just tiny variations in connection resistance at the lugs can cause one inverter to pull way more of that 231 amp load. That slight imbalance causes one unit to overheat, overload, and fail prematurely, even in a parallel system that looks perfectly connected. Which brings us to the final and, honestly, probably the scariest failure point: protection failure. When you're pushing over 200 amps of DC current, cheap breakers simply do not have the necessary DC interruption capacity. Breaking a high amperage DC arc is incredibly difficult to do. Cheap breakers are going to trip too slowly, they'll overheat internally under that sustained load, or worse, the contacts inside will literally weld themselves closed, completely failing to stop an electrical fire when things go critically wrong. So, what's the fix? Well, we basically need to rebuild our whole engineering framework with what we call the 200 amp mindset shift. Let's walk through the steps. Number 1, size your battery capacity so it can easily and safely handle 200 plus amps of continuous draw. Number 2, drastically upgrade your DC cable sizing. 3, install heavy-duty bus bars that can actually manage the heat and the current flow. 4, invest in properly rated protection devices that have true DC interruption capacity. And 5, actively plan for thermal management. You're not just building a 10 kilowatt system anymore. You are building a robust 200 amp DC powerhouse. Because, listen, if you just ignore the current truth, the harsh truth is your system might actually turn on at first. You'll flip the switch, the lights come on, and you'll think it's a total success. But what you can't see is where the failure actually begins. Invisible heat, micro stresses in your battery cells, and slight electrical imbalances will inevitably catch up with you over time. Time is just not on your side if the foundational math of your DC system is wrong. And that leaves us with a pretty urgent question for you to think about. What is your battery bank's rated current versus your actual load? Seriously, go look at your setup, run the math we discussed today, and see if your batteries, your cables, and your breakers are genuinely prepared for the continuous DC demands you're placing on them. Remember, most people size inverters in kilowatts, but systems fail in amps. Make sure yours isn't one of them. Thanks so much for joining me to explore this explainer today, and keep asking those right questions as you build.